Conquer Any Fear with Peter Feza.
If you're the kind of person who wants to be the most powerful person that you could possibly be while you're here on Earth, if you want to be the most effective leader than you could be, then this video is for you. I'm going to give you the secret to absolute leadership. And it's going to be the most powerful tool in your tool belt if you really understand it. And if you're looking for a little quick fix and you're not interested in being a leader and you're not interested in living the most powerful existence, this isn't for you. You should probably press stop right now. What is that one factor that distinguishes some of the good leaders in this earth and some of the greatest leaders that ever lived? What made Gandhi, right? He's one of the most powerful leaders in the last 150 years. And why do I know that? Well, there was a lot of fighting in India at one point. People were murdering each other with guns and machetes, and it was pretty brutal. And here comes this dude who's wearing a loincloth. He's 110 pounds soaking wet. And he basically says, all right, everybody, we're going to introduce this new concept. It's called Satyagraha, nonviolent resistance. And you're just going to sit down and you're going to let people beat the absolute crap out of you. And people are like, with their guns, okay, so let me get this straight. We're going to stop shooting and just lay down our weapons and let the British soldiers beat the shit out of us? Okay. But that's exactly what happened. He was such an effective leader, he led 200 million people to break away from the British Empire. But what was his secret? How did he do that? How did he become the most effective leader he could possibly be, which was a process? It all comes down to this one word: integrity. The man had probably one of the biggest amounts of integrity that any human on this earth has ever had. And what is that? What does integrity mean? I remember 10 years ago I asked my boss at the time, I was like, what does integrity mean? I didn't even know it. It's kind of embarrassing. And he says, integrity is when what you do matches what you say. And when those two are aligned, then you have integrity. This is your power. This is the juice. If you were to think of your vision and your dreams or your business idea or whatever as like a monster truck, this huge vision, then the fuel, the gas in that truck is your integrity. Integrity is defined as workability, as implicate wholeness. Think of a bicycle. A bicycle has wheels. Now, that you can consider the spokes in that wheel on the bicycle integrity. Those are your beliefs, your core values, those types of things. And when you act out of your alignment with your core values and your beliefs, you take a little spoke out of the wheel. You do something that's out of alignment with your core values and beliefs, again, you take another spoke out of the wheel. When you don't follow through on your promises, when you don't follow through with your commitments, you take a spoke out of the wheel. And no matter now where you drive this bicycle, the workability of that bicycle isn't happening. You lost your performance. You lost your integrity. The number one thing that employees in the United States are looking for, according to a major survey, is this. What's the number one value they're looking for in a leader? Above all, out of all of the top choices, all of the top qualities that they're looking for in a leader to lead them in their company, a person who follows their own word, a person who follows their own example is the number one quality. Now here's the thing, people have to buy into you before they buy into your product, before they buy into your cause. Here's an example, Martin Luther King. Now the civil rights movement was a massive revolution here in the United States, massive. And it happened within a very short amount of time. Well, there's a lot of events that led up until that point, but the most amount of change happened when Martin Luther King came onto the scene. They bought into him before they bought into the cause. Does that make sense? First, they bought into Steve Jobs before they bought into Apple, and so on and so forth. They bought into Gandhi before they bought into laying down their arms and getting beat up by the British soldiers. But you see, bringing it back to Gandhi, what Gandhi did is he followed his word, all the way up to the minorest of details. There's this one story about Gandhi that I absolutely love, and it shows what integrity really means and how you can affect change in others. Listen carefully. Here's a story. A mother, and this is a true story, brought her young son to visit Gandhi. She came from far away. See, the young son was addicted to sugar. He was eating sugar all the time. And she was like, holy crap, his teeth, his body, we got to fix this, right? It's my son. Brought him to Gandhi. Said, Gandhi, can you please tell my son to stop eating sugar? And Gandhi turns to the kid and he looks at the mom and he said, bring the child back in 1 month and I'll do it then. And she's like, I just came from far, okay, whatever, Gandhi. So she went away, and a month later she brings the kid back, and she looks at Gandhi and says, now, and then Gandhi knelt down on the ground, and he looked the little boy in the eyes, and he said, child, stop eating sugar. And they had this connection. It's not that he told him to stop eating the sugar, he just had this power about him, right? And the kid's like, And Gandhi embraced the kid and looked at him, and the kid was changed. She's like, I'm not gonna eat sugar ever again. And the mom's like confused, she's happy, but at the same time she's grateful, and she's like, why did you have me come back? Why didn't you say that a month ago? And then he said, because a month ago, I was eating sugar. That is the power of integrity. That is the power of the word. One of the greatest mentors that I've ever had in my entire life. He was a motivational speaker, and he was on stage in front of hundreds of people, about 500 people. And he had 13 businesses that were really successful. And people naturally, they're curious about success because success leaves clues. They said, how did you start and create and have 13 companies? And he just said very confidently, he said, do you want to know how I started 13 companies? And the audience is like, right? Including me. I was like, yeah, come on, tell me. He said, it's because of the power of my word. He said I was going to do something and I did it. I just did it. By the power of my word, every single word is now an act of creation because of my integrity, my implicate wholeness, my workability. You see, his story is that he was an alcoholic. And he wasn't a good father to his children, and he was never at home. But he had these mentors and coaches in his life that showed him the way, that brought awareness to all the places in his life that he wasn't filling commitments, that he wasn't following his word and what he believed his core values. But as soon as his actions started aligning with what he believed to be right at that moment, that gap between what he believed and what he did, his actions, closed. This gave him ultimate power. The last story I'm going to tell you is something that has affected. It's one of the most powerful lessons that I've ever learned in my life when it comes to integrity, which gives us the power, the juice to become the greatest leaders we could possibly be. It was at a seminar. I was sitting there at a seminar with a lot of educated people, a lot of well-to-do people, and we're sitting there, and we're all sharing stories about our past and what we're learning from this experience. It was great. It was really intellectual. And then all of a sudden, I see this 25-year-old man, and he stands up. And immediately I can tell when he started speaking that he was intellectually challenged. And I started judging him. I started saying to myself, oh God, why is he here? I mean, it's horrible, right? But I started saying these things to myself. And within a matter of seconds, my whole belief system shifted. I was like, wow. The man had more power than anybody in that room, including the speaker. And I couldn't understand it at the time, but when he was saying, what he said had weight, had power, had juice, and I couldn't figure out why. But then I realized later on, you see, he didn't know a whole lot of facts and knowledge. He wasn't intellectual and smart, quote unquote, like we were. But what he believed and what he did were so closely aligned. He had the power of integrity, and that power had influence on all of us. You see, what is smart? Is smart knowing a bunch of things, or is it doing the things that you know? Because if that's the definition of integrity, of power, he had 10 times more power than I had. He was smarter than I was. The bottom line is this. If you want to have master influence over others, if you want to affect change to millions of people worldwide in your product, if you wanted to have a cause, if you want to be the greatest leader you could possibly be, the juice The energy, the fuel behind that dream, behind that vision is integrity, is of your wholeness, is of your commitment to your values, your core, and your word. This is Peter Fazer reminding you to conquer any fear and live your dreams. If you just saw that video and you liked what you saw and you want to get those videos every single week before anybody else, go to my website at conqueranyfear.com. I'm going to give you free tips, tools, and strategies on how to conquer your fear. Plus, you'll get free weekly videos before anybody else gets them. This is Peter Fazer reminding you to conquer any fear and make your dreams happen